Hello and welcome to Megawatt News. I'm Katie Scott. This is the Tech Week in View, our rundown of the hottest news stories of the week and what we think of them. Stay tuned. So the figures are in, but the jury is out. At our last check, the official count for the number of Firefox 3 downloads worldwide had hit a whopping 10,954,477. Firefox is undoubtedly a beautiful thing. It's free, and also about 20,000 people work on it in their free time just because they love it. The announcement today, Firefox 3 possibly beating the Guinness World Record of downloads in one day, is an amazing milestone in the company's history. But way back in September, Firefox actually hit the 800 million download mark. This was interesting within itself, but what was interesting afterwards is the CEO actually came back to the press and said, of those 800 million, only 25% would actually be regular Firefox users. So the question is, of those people who have downloaded Firefox 3, how many will actually be using it in, say, a month's time? Experts are suggesting that Apple's 3G iPhone costs considerably less than the original to make. A team in So there have been 3G iPhone stories galore, but only one managed to get my back up. It was one from the LA Times, in which it reported that a lady from Newport Beach was going to complain to Apple because apparently the new 3G iPhone isn't fingernail friendly, and she thinks it should be sold with a stylus. Well, I read this story about half an hour after seeing a tech review on the internet in which a very young and pretty female presenter talked about a laptop, and her one complaint was that the keyboard, again, wasn't fingernail friendly. All I have to say is women out there are very tech savvy. There are loads of female journalists writing amazing things about technology every day. Please, let's not let the few ruin this movement by talking about chipping their fingernails.
If you thought a 5 megapixel camera phone would pretty much be a top of the range model, then you probably better start thinking again.
The launch of the Sony Ericsson C905, while exciting, isn't actually all of that interesting within itself. After all, Samsung actually launched a 10 megapixel camera phone, but at the moment it's stuck in Korea, and there's rumours that Nokia is going to launch its own 8 megapixel model. What's interesting is the impact these sorts of models are going to have on the traditional camera market, especially low-spec digital models. I used to work for a photography magazine, and I can honestly say that manufacturers were watching what was happening in the camera phone business and were really panicking, because camera phones are now the same spec as the lower end models that they're offering. So what's going to happen? Well, is it going to make the lower end digital cameras obsolete, or are camera manufacturers just going to have to keep on pushing up the pixel count? From Sony Ericsson to Toshiba, which announced new technology today, as well as unveiling 3 laptops at what became quite a heated press conference. We went down to find out what the fuss is about. So Toshiba has launched 3 new laptops, as well as an upscaling technology which basically turns SD input into HD output. But what isn't widely known is that the Toshiba European launch actually turned into a bit of a slanging match between journalists and the Toshiba crew. And in particular was the question, why don't the new laptops have Blu-ray drives? Well, the Toshiba European CEO basically called Blu-ray just another storage medium and said that there's other storage mediums out there, including non-spinning media, which has capacities which are comparable. And he also said that Bill Gates hadn't mentioned Blu-ray in his keynote speech way back in January. So, Toshiba then was questioned over whether this upscaling technology was their answer to Blu-ray, hence not using Blu-ray drives, and whether or not it was good enough. Of course they wouldn't answer, but what they did say was that this technology could well soon appear in TVs and DVD players, and that being the case, it could well be Toshiba's Blu-ray killer, something which it talked about way back in April. And if that's the case, this could be Blu-ray versus Toshiba round 101. That was the rundown of the top stories of the week and our personal spin on them. Join us on Monday for the usual daily news and views from the world of gadgets and technology. In the meantime, have a lovely weekend. I'm Katie Scott, reporting for Megawatt News. Thanks for watching.